Hey guys, Fusebox back on Raid Shadow Legends. We're going after the clan boss with what I am convinced is the best possible unkillable team in the game. So we're going to be going over the MythBuster team, and there might be a lot of myths that you can bust, right? So you don't have to have certain champions to do this the way you might think. Now, I am going to be doing probably one of the better ones, and what I want to do is jump right into the nuts and bolts. This team is ridiculous. I'll tell you all the pros. There are very few, if any, cons. It's an amazing team. So let's just get into the actual team. Let's pull this team up, kind of check it out, and then go through the ways you can do it without Cardiel, without Lydia. There are budget options. There are options without Ninja, and a lot of this information is compiled on Deadwood Jedi's website. So really all you have to do is get in there and check your speeds up and down, put the gear in you have, make sure the speeds work. So nuts and bolts, the team that I'm using, if you have Cardiel, if you have Lydia, this team should be happening right now. But they are not what it takes to make this team. What it does take to make this team is Demitha and Seeker. If you have those two, we can probably make this team for you. So let's real quick look over the one that I'm running. It will involve Lydia. What is really important about her, it's amazing that she brings the debuffs, on the clan boss himself. But what really is important is the fact that she brings a speed buff. Demitha can extend that buff, and we will stay running it with a speed buff the entire fight. That lets us go 3-1 against the clan boss with all of our important heroes. What is Cardiel really doing that's important? Now, he's doing a lot that brings a lot of extra damage. He's an amazing hero. He's got an ally attack. He gets extra hits at random when anybody else makes an attack. But what's really important is the fact that he's bringing block debuffs. This makes it affinity friendly, full auto, easy run. So you don't have to have him. You could bring in your Tartura, Rhymehide. You could bring in a Brogni, anybody with a 3-turn cooldown on an ability that can block debuffs. So these two are actually replaceable. We are taking advantage of a 19% speed boost aura, but you definitely can get that out of, we will show in just a second, High Katoon. We all get High Katoon. So what is special about the Ninja variant? Now using Cardiel brings an advantage. You'll notice on crit rate, we can hover around 70 or higher. He will not keep the crit buff here up the entire fight, but it's up enough that you can actually build out for damage and stay around 70-75% crit rate on your heroes, and you will do very well. So using Cardiel, you can kind of drop this crit rate, work on your crit damage on all your heroes. So let's start with speeds, all right? Demitha, she has to be on this team, so she's fast, right? 297. You can go up or down a little bit. Just put it in the calculator and check it. Just start at 297 and see how high and how low you can go depending on the gear that you'll be wearing. If you're wearing a lot of speed sets, it will change this, so plug that into the calculator. And then as far as speed, if you're doing a Lydia team, she's got to be pretty fast too, right around 300, a little bit higher than 300 speed. So if you can get these speeds on these two, the rest of the team starts to ease up. Now, the Ninja variant differs if you are not using Ninja. Let's look at Ninja speed. He's running 266, and Cardiel is running 187. If you're not using the Ninja variant, you will swap this. Cardiel will be going about 266, and your damage dealer will be going about 187. So when you're not using Ninja, it's a lot easier to make your damage dealer do big damage because he's running a lot slower. If you have a Turbold at 187 or a Draco, really easy to get a lot of damage on that build. So at 266, it's a little tougher to pile on that attack and that crit damage. So keep that in mind when you're trying to choose. Is your gear going to allow you to build a strong Ninja at this speed? But trust me, even without this, really high numbers, at this speed, if you have the accuracy and some decent damage, he's going to do amazing stuff. So that's the only difference. Ninja variant, Ninja goes at the 266 speed slot, while Cardiel drops down to the 186-ish slot. And then if you're using a regular damage dealer, not Ninja, you will go ahead and swap their speeds. And then there's Seeker. crucial to this build, and he's running 205. I think that goes down to 200. Again, get on the calculator, start at 205, see how high and low you can go. But at 205, this works great. And the beautiful thing about this is let's look at the setup. If you're using these champions, you're going to want to make priority your block debuffs. This is going to have to be priority so that you're completely affinity friendly. Even though we want to be using this as often as we can, this becomes more important. So it has to be your first priority, and then you can set this as your second priority. He's ready to go right out of the box. Lydia is ready to go. There's nothing you need to do to her, but we will talk about if you're bringing a lot of poisons. I do have a toxic set on my Seeker, okay? So he's bringing some poisons, but not enough to keep the bar full. It's not going to be full of poisons. If you have a Draco, you're going to want to turn off this ability. You don't want to be adding any of these extra debuffs to the bar. You want to be able to put your poisons up, but you do want poison sensitivity. In that case, take it off auto right after her first move, and on her second move, use this ability one time, put up poison sensitivity, and then make sure that this is turned off for the fight, and she'll keep poison sensitivity up the entire fight, and her block debuffs will drop off, and that way you have poison sensitivity, but without taking up an extra spot on that bar. But what I have found is if you don't have a full bar, I'm not bringing a ton of poisons. I have one toxic set hiding on Seeker. This actually does slightly more damage than her A1, so I just leave it on. I have no problem with filling up the bar. Another amazing thing about this is the fact that no one's going to take damage. No one's going to take a stun. Because of that, Masteries can look a lot different. So let's get out of here real quick. And I want to look at some of their Masteries. Let's jump in on Ninja. To get more damage out of Ninja, we're able to do things on a clan boss team you normally cannot do. So, and then we're going to talk about if you don't have some of these champions, no problem. But on his Masteries, you're not going to get anything out of the typical retribution because no one's going to be getting their counterattacks. No one's going to take any chunks of damage that will trigger this, as well as deterrence. No one's going to take that stun. No one's going to get this. So now you get to go down this tree. You don't see this a lot, right? But we're going to use Cycle of Magic on Ninja because we just want to get that A2 out as many times as possible. We want him doing damage. That gives us a chance to add some accuracy. We can use Lore of Steel to get to that high speed, and we can go ahead and try to get Master Hexer, keep those HP burns going. And everything else is just about damage, right? You're coming down to War Master. Pretty much nothing too special there, but it's nice that all your characters get to use. So let's look at Cardiel. It is nice being able to go into his Masteries, and some of this is for other content on him, but you can come down to Lasting Gifts and try to get that crit buff and crit damage buff to last a little bit longer on some of your champions to up that damage. Definitely awesome. You can go ahead and increase some of the healing he does for other content in the game, however you want to get down here. But do remember, you cannot be using things like Rapid Response, Arcane Celerity, and in his case, you cannot use Cycle of Magic. You cannot be messing up his turn order. Ninja, you just want him rapidly going through his turn order. Other than that, we're going straight down. Now, everybody wants Heart of Glory. You're going to have full HP the entire fight. Go for that. Straight down into War Master, and the rest is just whatever you can do in other content. So we'll go ahead and peek through the rest of them. Lydia, huge part of this team. We kind of took advantage of the same things, right? We came down Heart of Glory straight into War Master. Over here, we were able to, because Master Hexer will help keep those debuffs up in other content as well, and keeping this build is pretty intense, and I did not want to lose accuracy on her. I wanted to keep her where I'm close to 300. I can still bring her through Doom Tower, but in the end, we're looking for attack, right? Which is strange for a Lydia build. We're looking for crit damage and attack, and at a speed of 302, it can get a little bit tough. Same thing with Cardiel. It's not the way that I actually put him in Savage. I dropped my numbers quite a bit. I was at 4,400 attack and 280, 290% crit damage, but Savage Gear actually upped my damage, even dropping down a little bit on each one of these numbers. So I've got him in Savage Gear, and he's all about damage. That's all I really want out of him. We looked at his Masteries. You saw Ninja, as much damage as we could get at that high speed, all about getting the right Masteries to get the most out of him. So let's find Demitha. Same thing. We're looking for damage. In the end, this team will blow a 1 key out of the water, even with a weak build. Trust me, it will blow it out of the water, breaking 100 million without a sweat, right? When I first built this team, I still had level 8 chests on some of my heroes and just blew 100 million out of the water. It's an amazing team. So Demitha, let's go ahead and see her build real quick. What I'm doing, just so you get an idea anyway. Again, we're looking for damage. That's really all we're looking for. So we tried to break 3,000 attack, get about 200% crit damage. Her masteries, again, a lot of this is not going to help us, but we have a lot of useful masteries for other content. And of course, Heart of Glory straight into War Master. And then Seeker. Seeker actually is going to be bringing some damage as well. So let's find the big bat. There we go. Again, he's in a toxic set to kind of help get a little extra damage. Reasonable speed, so pretty easy to get decent damage out of him. 4,500 attack, 245% crit damage with that toxic set, and his masteries are a little different looking than normal as well. Same thing. Keep that increased attack up as long as we can with things like lasting gifts, the same build on the left. Just make sure you're not changing turn order of people like him. Demitha, everybody but Ninja needs to stay solid. So don't take anything that's going to change their turn order or their actual turn meter. That's going to just ruin your team. But you do get to actually take advantage of some of the, like building up accuracy for other content, things like that. But basically, it's all out damage. The support tree seems to give better masteries when you cannot get any actual counterattacks out of your champions. And here's the beautiful thing. We saw the setup. Let's jump in here. And what we'll do, if you're looking for a 1 key, it took me all this time. The reason I've never showed this, I've been running it for a month or so, but I did not get a Demitha until recently. And man, am I glad to have her. So it's full auto from the start with the setup that I showed you real quick. Let's just make sure that you see what my setup is. Lydia is ready to go out of the box. Ninja just wants to make sure he prioritizes his A2. Science right behind it. Demitha, she needs to open with her A1 and then prioritize her A2 to keep everything lined up where she's extending buffs and then coming around, protecting the team. You just want to open with your A1 and Seeker's good to go. Let's save all this. And again, this is full auto. If you need poison sensitivity, but don't want that extra debuff because you're bringing poison, say with a Draco, after that first move, you would take it off auto right when it comes back around on this first turn to Lydia. So right after Cardiel, you would take it off auto right here, use her A2, and then go back to auto and have A2 or A3, sorry, and have it turned off. And you'll keep poison sensitivity up the entire fight. But here's what we're going to do. The damage ramps up so ridiculously fast on this team. What we're going to do, we actually have the bonus of being against Spirit, which gives us a little extra chance on crit rate for our 2 blue affinity attackers, which is Seeker and Ninja. But we're going to come back around. We're just going to watch this. I'm going to skip to like turn 10, turn 20 for just a few rounds to see how much damage we're doing every turn for the clan boss. And then we'll come back towards the end, see what it's doing. And then we're going to start talking about budget options, other options you have to build this team. But Ninja's going to really show off on this. He really gets a chance to get enough turns to show off how quickly he ramps up damage. And it's kind of insane. All right, we're coming up on turn 10. Ninja is completely warmed up. He's got his full damage going already. It's so quick because he's getting so many turns in this composition. And we're already over 30 million. And if you watch carefully, you'll notice that Lydia actually stands a chance there. We're getting 37,000 a hit on her A3 twice, right? And you're still proccing War Master. So it's going to come out about the same as a good hit on our A1, 84,000. But again, if you're worried about your debuff bar, just turn that move off, use it once. I just am being lazy and leaving it on because the damage adds up just fine. I'm never going to have a full debuff bar, very rarely anyways, with one toxic set hiding in here. But you got Cardio hitting for 150,000, and he can come in behind anybody just like that and go from 100 to 160,000 with extra hits constantly. On top of that, you've got Seeker doing big damage. You've got Ninja doing ridiculous damage. And even with you see we're missing some crits, but for the most part, we're going to keep that crit rate buff up enough to where you can go push those high crit damage numbers. Let's just watch this a little bit more. We'll cut back in periodically to see how quickly we're getting to that one key, that one key that everybody looks for. We're going to blow past that. If you got these heroes, a one key is the least of your worries. It's super. I mean, look at Ninja with 82 million alone. It's gross. Almost 40 million out of Cardiel. I've seen it hit that. The damage can go higher. It can go lower because there's a lot of RNG, right? Cardiel may get a ton of random hits. He may get less one time. I'm not crit capped, even though we do have a crit buff for a lot of the fight. There's a lot of variance there. 30 million out of Ninja, 20 out of Lydia, and I have a pretty weak Demitha, but she's pulling up about 12 million. So it's ridiculous. Ninja really shows off in a comp where he gets this many turns. It's kind of gross. There's some RNG because of the cool masteries we're able to use to get even more damage. Real quick, just so you know, this works absolutely fine on Nightmare, just the same. You just click it and go. It usually gets a little over 200 million. Kind of a nasty hit there. Now, Brutal. If you want to run Brutal, it's, well, simply when you go in, do not start it on auto. Lydia needs to use either her A1 or her A3, and then you just hit auto. That's it. She needs to not do the speed buff on the first turn, and it lines up for me on the Ninja variant. I cannot speak for if you're not using Ninja and you're doing it where Ninja and Cardiel swap their speeds. And again, the benefit to that is you can build a much higher damage dealer at that lower speed of like 186, 187, and let Cardiel be your faster champion. But even if you can't get an amazing build at 266 speed on Ninja, I'm telling you, the damage he does is well worth doing it. So real quick, let me pull something up in case you don't have Lydia or Cardiel. Okay, so using Deadwood Jedi's amazing calculator, if you use the 19% aura with a High Katoon, we all have High Katoon, you will have to have Demitha, you will have to have Seeker. But at these speeds, at 255 on High Katoon, using a 19% lead, whether it's hers or I believe Demitha has one, Demitha's still at 295, right? She still has to go fast. You can use, if you've got Cardio, of course, you're going to get more out of him. But if you don't, anybody with a 3-turn cooldown that can block, and you will make it priority. You notice his A2 on Tatura Rhymehide, we're making that his priority. Putting up block debuffs on a 3-turn cooldown, so it could be anybody that can do that. I think Grizzle Jarl can do that as well. Seeker at 193 and Ninja at 258, and you see we get the same results. And trust me, it's not going to be nearly the same, right? We don't have a weekend on this team, but we do have Ninja doing all his crazy amount of turns, giving us decreased defense constantly. It's still going to blow a 1-key out, right? You can do this with a budget team without question. Again, Lydia would just be better if you have Lydia, right? But if you don't, budget teams, there's plenty of them. So I just wanted to point that out. I just wanted to make sure that you knew there were other ways to do it. As far as, I think it's pretty obvious the reasons. It's affinity friendly. Most cases, if you think about the heroes people are going to be trying to bring, Ninja, or if you're not using Ninja, you're bringing maybe a Draco, right? A lot of these are magic affinity, like mine, both Seeker and Ninja are magic affinity. So if I go up against Force, it drops dramatically, right? I'm doing like 140, 150 million. It could go as low with bad luck as 135 million, but even a bad hit on Force affinity is a great hit. So it's a great way to just help your clan out, possibly if you're struggling to complete Ultra Nightmare every day or something. It gets tons of damage. Easy to get your keys in. I have not actually hit Brutal yet. And remember, on Brutal, just make sure that you open with an A1 or an A3 with your Lydia. You're good to go on Brutal. On the Ninja variant, I cannot speak for the other builds, but on the Ninja variant, that is the way I have to do it. Stupid, right? It's stupid good. It's my favorite unkillable team yet. I was blessed to finally get the Mytha. One hero I've pretty much almost every epic in the game I've at least had in my possession. I still have not gotten a Geomancer. Come on, right? I wanted to show this off. I definitely wanted to make sure that everybody knows. I don't think there's a better team out there. I really don't think there's a better team out there to just knock out all affinities on Clan Boss with really high damage. It leaves a lot of room to improve your damage output over time. So great place to, if you're looking for a way to jump up, this is an exciting team. You have to have the Mytha, you have to have Seeker, you have to have an increased speed, and you're gonna want the 19% crit speed aura. So that's the reason I'm throwing a High Katoon out as a great option for budget. And you're gonna have to be able to block debuffs on a 3-turn cooldown. And then there are unlimited ways to build this team outside of that. So I want to show off the MythBuster. Why Demitha is still probably the queen of Clan Boss, even though there are so many amazing champions out there for it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I know I enjoy watching that team work. It's gross, right? Until next time, enjoy the grind.